Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Celtic Clydesdale show. I'm Jim and I am the Celtic Clydesdale. In today's episode we're going to be doing a review of the Asics Gel Contend 5 running shoe. Now, this particular shoe could be picked up probably on Amazon.com. You might be able to get it from any of the other running shoe websites out there, and you could probably pick it up at some place like Kohl's or Dick's Sporting Goods or places like that. Typical price for the shoe is going to be about $45. So this is a budget type shoe, and it is at the lower end of Asics scale, but that doesn't make it a bad shoe. Okay, moving on with the shoe. I'm going to actually show you. This is the particular model. This is the Gel Contend 5, as I said. This particular pair is in gray. I also have a pair in blue, and I'll put down below other colors available, particularly for men, and I'll go ahead and throw in some colors for the women too. But this is a basic shoe. The bottom of the shoe is pretty decent. The fit of this shoe, I wear a size 13, and this is a size 13 shoe, and for me, the shoe is pretty true to size. I don't get the wide version, so if you do need the wide version, there is one available. I did not get the wide version. It's just a regular size 13, and it fits quite nicely. I can lace it up pretty snug so that I got a good firm feel in the footbed, and I've not had any fit issues with it. I have heard before that particularly with a lot of Asics shoes, not just this particular model, and some people, they'll notice that the toe box is a bit narrow for them. I haven't had that problem, and I can't say if you will or you wouldn't. You should really try the shoes on to see if the toe box fits you or not before making the purchase. So if you're going to order online, try to get to a store, try them on first, and then order online. Other than that, other parts of the shoe that I like the fit of is when I lace the shoe up, the heel cup is pretty snug. It hugs my foot nicely, and honestly, I'm sitting at about 200 miles on this particular pair of shoes and about 200 miles on the blue pair, and I've never really had any fitment issues with these. So very nice fit, especially for a budget shoe. I've got no complaints really on the fit. Now, as for the feel of the shoe, I personally think that this shoe has some decent cushioning. Is it the best cushioning? No, not by a long shot. If you step up to the Gel Nimbus, which is the Asics top end shoe in this segment, or one notch below that is the Gel Cumulus, both of which I've run in, you're going to get a lot better cushioning, but for the price point with these shoes, the cushioning is actually quite outstanding in my opinion. As for the weight of the shoe, we're talking about Clydesdale racers, or the weight of the shoe really is not going to have a whole lot of effect, but it's not that heavy a shoe. It's not as light by any means as the Gel Nimbus or the Gel Cumulus, but as far as running shoes goes, I think it's actually on the fairly light end of the spectrum as compared to other brands that I've worn before. Now, for me, when I retire a running shoe, which means it gets to a point where It's just completely uncomfortable to run in. The cushioning has lost its cushioning, which sounds funny to say, doesn't it? But pretty much the shoe is starting to break down at that point, and the impact from running is overstressing the shoe, and it loses its comfort. But once you retire this particular shoe, I can tell you from the couple of times that I've just thrown it on to walk about, it's going to make a great everyday shoe. And if you just happen to be out and you need, you know, a pretty decent, comfortable pair of shoes, and you really don't intend to run in them, I mean, they're $45. They off the shelf, they'd make a great everyday shoe. I would recommend them for that and for running. Now, the ride of the shoe. First and foremost, this is a neutral shoe, okay? If you need stability control or you need motion control, this is not the shoe for you. This shoe is fairly neutral shoe, and it's pretty decent for pretty much any striking stride. I'm a toe striker, or I run on my forefoot, and I still get a fair amount of cushioning for running on my forefoot. When on the flip side of that, when I start to get pretty fatigued, like on my longer runs, I do shift back a little bit and run on my midfoot, and I still feel a decent amount of cushioning from the shoe, and it doesn't affect my gait at all. So it's pretty good for any of those foot strikes. But again, if you need stability or motion control, this is not the shoe. Now, durability. For me, because I am a cheapskate, I like a shoe to last as long as possible. And I'm not sure if you can see quite well. Well, actually you can. This is, like I said, I'm a forefoot striker, and you're looking at, this is the wear level that we've gotten on this shoe after 200 miles on the tread wear. Now, I can tell you that with 200 miles, the cushioning in the shoe and the footbed in particular, it's not as cushy as it was the day I bought the shoes. But I think there's still quite a bit of life in there. And, you know, when it gets to the point where I retire this pair of shoes and the blue pair of shoes, of course, I'll let you guys know, and I'll, you know, probably do another review on it at that mileage point. But right now, at the 200 mile mark, I'm actually fairly impressed with this shoe, and I'm going to keep putting some mileage on it. But like I said, that said, I mean, I can't really speak ill about the durability of the shoe at this point. It's doing quite well. Now, on the flip side of that, I only run in these shoes. I have worn them about as everyday shoes a couple of times, mainly out of laziness, but for the most part, I only run in these shoes. Like, they're only on my feet when I'm about to go for a run or while I'm running. I don't wear them in my workshop. I don't wear them out walking about at stores. They're strictly for running. And like I said, 200 miles on them at this point, and they're doing quite well. Critiques on the shoe. I think the only real critique I have for this shoe is just that it is a budget shoe. I think color options for the shoe aren't, you know, there aren't that many of them because it is at the low end of the range. But I mean, it's not bad, but it's kind of plain. But then again, I'm not running to put on a fashion show. Sometimes I do like to have a flashy shoe, but not all the time. And in this case, it's not a flashy shoe. But It's not horrible. The cushioning is, I mean, it's nice cushioning, but it's not the greatest cushioning. But then again, $45 for this shoe by the, you know, this one pair of shoes, you know, you can't ask much for it. Now, so overall, if you're on a budget, and how many of us really aren't, I actually would recommend this shoe, especially if you're just starting out in running and you're trying to get your running legs about you. This shoe will do you well. You could spend, like I said, if you've got a budget, say of $100, you can actually go and get 2 pairs of these shoes and cycle between them. That's actually what I did. Is last time I went to buy shoes, I actually had about $120 set for my budget. I was originally going to get a pair of the Asics Gel Cumulus shoes. I think the 21s was the model at the time, but I saw these. They were $45 a pair. So I went ahead, bought 2 pairs, had $30. My wife and I went out and had a dinner that we didn't plan on having. That's what we do. But decent shoe, decent price, and it does the job with a decent amount of durability. So that's the Asics Gel Contend 5 shoe. Would I recommend it? Again, yes, I would. I think it'll do well for beginning runners, and it'll actually do well for pretty well seasoned runners. So if you're looking to save some coin and get some halfway decent shoes, go ahead and get yourself a pair of the Gel Contend 5s. With that being said, come back next week when our topic's going to be a motivational topic. And so what we're going to do is, in the next video, we're going to discuss what makes an athlete. And we'll go into the fact that there are some people, particularly your larger people or your slower people, who compete in races and they do events, but they don't think of themselves as athletes. And we're going to discuss my opinion on what makes an athlete, and I'm actually going to get some testimonials from other folks, especially members of my Conti's Tri team, to discuss what is an athlete, and, you know, we'll go from there. And also, as I sign off, I would like to introduce you to my good friend Clyde. He's also a Celtic Clydesdale. So, with that said, come on back next week. If you like what you've heard so far, please subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be notified when videos get uploaded, hit the bell. And until next week, keep on keeping on.